Alright, good evening. This is Corporal Cortella with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Mod cast. Today we have Game 2 of Toilailee versus Dark Riku from DJ Rafa's tournament. And, interestingly, last time we saw Toilailee playing off-race as the Tyranid Lictor Alpha. Now we see him as the Orc Mekboy. Interesting. He's such a little orc. Tiny. And we have Dark Riku over here, of course, as the Space Marine Apothecary. And look at that little skull thing on top of his backpack. That's pretty fucking cool. Anyway. So, last game, we saw Riku beat Toilailee against his Tyranids on this same map in a very close game. This is only a 15-minute game. Hopefully it's still a pretty good game, but obviously a little bit shorter. I guess normally I wouldn't just cast any 15-minute game, but these are two of the best players in Dawn of War 2. So, I'm sure it'll still be worth it just to see good players go at it. Some of the best players. We see over here the mech taking advantage of his ability to teleport to really be aggressive and take advantage of the fact that a Space Marine player usually isn't going to immediately know their power, and he actually decaps the power. And the mech, not as good of a fighter as the Commando Knob, but he still definitely beats Scouts. I think he did get a model from the Scout Squad over there. Scouts give a lot of experience, and yet they're easy to kill. So, right now, and now he's even going to go for the decap on Riku's natural requisition, maybe? I think it would actually be worth it to just tank the damage from the Scouts while he decaps. And will he do that? Yes, he will. Thinking what I'm thinking. Because then he's going to take away this requisition from Riku while the Scouts just shoot at him without actually doing anything. And Riku realizes that a better use of these Scouts would be not fighting the Mekboy, but taking back this power node. Riku does put a node on the contested power just so we can have some power income. And again, Toilailee being really taking advantage of the Mekboy. I guess he has played the Mekboy a little bit. Kind of knows what to do. Really taking advantage of that teleport to harass the Scouts. Take advantage of the fact that the Mekboy just beats Scouts. Ranged heroes in general, you don't want to engage them with Scouts. Shooter Boys do get a capture on the natural victory point, and now they decide to go because they definitely lose to major lead attacks, especially when they don't have their big shooters. And Riku is finally getting back both his natural power and his natural victory point, and unfortunately these Slugger Boys right here are just going to straight up tear apart this power node. Maybe I'm wrong. We got a Devastator from Riku with a good arc just to set up to start shooting these Slugger Boys. We also got the Scouts shooting, not doing a whole lot of damage since Scouts are not very powerful. But, unfortunately for Toilailee, his Slugger Boys need to go. So, pretty good start from Toilailee, I think. Riku does have the 2 victory points right now, so he is getting the victory points, but he has been doing better on just map control. Well, now Riku's getting it back, but just that early harassment was very good play from Toilailee with the Mekboy, and that's part of what you do with the Mekboy. Even though he doesn't seem like the killiest or the strongest or the most effective hero, he's a little bit more indirect. He's a very much. You don't just look at him at his straight-up fighting abilities. It's like, what tricks can he do? And he's very much a shenanigans commander, and that's part of the shenanigans. It's like, for like 3 minutes, Riku couldn't even have his natural power, just because of this Mekboy. Now we do have Storm Boys from Toilailee. A lot of Orc players complain about Storm Boys. I personally think they're pretty good, especially once they get their knob upgrade in Tier 2. They already do a ton of damage, even without the knob. And then the knob allows them to stun on landing. And then they do even more damage. But even without the knob, they are pretty much going to counter the Devastator. And if the Devastator does not retreat immediately after getting jumped by a Storm Boy, it does risk getting wiped. But luckily, what Riku's doing is he's using his Tax as an alternate jump target. Something else that Toilailee might want to jump on to bait the Storm Boys into getting shot up into the suppression arc of the Devastator. Devastator's taking this building, but now they are getting fired out of it. Do lose more than half health in that building. I don't know if they actually lost any models. No, they did not lose any models, but it was still, you know, that the Burners are actually very good anti-garrison. It's Mekboy right here. He's got the battery pack so that he can be kind of like the Apothecary, putting heals down on his troops. Is he going to put one down right now? Maybe it's on cooldown, and that's why he can't do it. Meanwhile, over here, Riku puts a heal on his own Apothecary. Riku taking back the middle. He's using his half-health Devastators to capture the middle. I guess while his units that can actually kind of fight right now actually fight. The cursed sound of orc guns. I just love hearing the little things you hear from these attacks, the Assault Space Marines, just the stuff they say in the game. Meanwhile, Toilailee, something he's been doing in this set, frequently backcapping this natural victory point for Riku. We have an aerial assault by the Assault Space Marines. Huge win for them against those shooter boys. Will they get any models? Assault Space Marines can definitely bleed some models off of these squads like shooter boys unless they retreat very early. Scouts, Bolter Scouts. We have unupgraded Bolter Scouts on both of the Bolter Scouts. So Riku really believes in just having the Scouts for map control. He's not even using them for the utility. He's basically just fighting with his tax, his Devastators, his ASM, and his Apothecary. Alright, and Riku decides to retreat his Scouts before they take any losses from the mech. Mech putting a lot of good pressure on these Scouts. Shooter boys, shooter boys. And it looks like Riku is going to start shooting at this shaking orc generator. Maybe not. He's actually going to shoot at units. He could take this building right here with his tax. Where are the sluggers? Sluggers over here, so if he takes the building, he won't be in trouble. But tax don't even need the building to beat shooters. They only need cover, and I'm not sure they even need that. But right now they're in a bad position because they're getting suppressed and they're getting hit by the Storm Boys who do a ton of damage. Yeah, and I mean, luckily they didn't die too badly against the Storm Boys just because they have that melee resist and they got the heal from the Apothecary, but it was still a hugely losing battle. We got some garbled speech from those Space Marines because 3 or 4 of them were talking at a time. Toilailee is getting a Death Dread. These Scouts, one of the other good reasons to get Shotgun Scouts is that if you get Shotgun Scouts, then they can actually Gen Bash. They're actually pretty good Gen Bashes, especially if they have a Sergeant 2. They just do so much damage, and especially if you have 2 of them. Stormboy does get a Knob. Stormboy Knob is really good. Look at how big he is. Let's just take a bigger look at that guy. He's huge. He does a ton of damage. And he also allows the squad to stun. This Devastator squad almost goes down. Is it going to go down? Yes, it does. Wow. So that garrison ended up going from being an asset to a liability. But it looks like... Oh, wow. Alright, Toilailee does manage to save this Slugger Boy squad with that suppression. And now we do have a Death Dread when Riku's not even in Tier 2 yet. And maybe that's why Riku's saying, LOL, what? Since Riku's still in Tier 1, he does not actually have any AV whatsoever. He can only stall out and maneuver around the Death Dread. It's not actually a losing battle if your opponent has... You haven't lost the game yet if your opponent has a vehicle and you're not even in Tier 2 yet. You can still turn it around. I remember I played one game where someone got a Blood Crusher against me, and I was playing as Space Marines. And it was just kind of this guy's trick where he wanted to get a fast Blood Crusher. And I was in Tier 2, but I didn't have any AV. So what I did was I quickly upgraded to Melt-A-Bombs, the Power Fist on the Force Commander, and the Missile Tack. And as soon as my upgrades went off, I hit the Blood Crusher with a Melt-A-Bomb and the Power Fist, Flesh over Steel, and it was an instantly dead Blood Crusher with the Missile Tack and then the Power Fist. So you're not out of it if you don't have AV yet. Riku does have the Thunder and Lightning right now. He does have the Missile Tack too. I guess one thing that has been helped in this mod for the Space Marines is that both the missile attack and the melt-a-bomb, I believe definitely the missile launcher and maybe the melt-a-bomb, have had their upgrade time decreased. So to help them, basically to help them deal with these early vehicle rushes. And this Death Dread, what I missed while I was telling you my story that you probably didn't give a shit about, was the Death Dread just took out this whole generator farm. Those flamers on the Death Dread do a lot of damage in a single burst. So they're really good at generator bashing. And he took out the whole farm for Riku. And now Riku doesn't even have the node up. He doesn't have any power nodes. He only has a 10 power income, and that's the base power income you get just from having your stronghold. So Riku is in a lot of trouble now. I mean, the victory points are about even, but Riku is not doing well at all in terms of resources, and the fighting is looking not so great too. He's got some AV to deal with the Death Dread, but he's just been losing out on a lot of things. He lost the Devastator. And I think we had a direct hit that just launched this guy. Yeah, and Toilailee even sees it. It literally launched the Storm Boy up in the air. He flew in the air. And Toilailee is putting so much pressure on Riku that Riku can't even get his natural power back. And what DJ Rafa is saying is that there is a 1 in 20 chance that a missile launcher will get a direct hit on a unit. And when it does, it will probably kill it, just because the missile launcher does do a lot of burst damage. Riku is not looking as strong in this game as he did in the last game. We do have the Death Dread being repaired by the Slugger Boys. Riku is getting a Plasma Cannon Devastator. You know, he's getting that mainly because he just wants to get something out on the field, and he does not have power. Plasma Cannon Devastator costs 0 power, so it's not terribly uncommon for Space Marine players, when they know they're in a situation where they do not have a power income, just to get a... Oh, wait, I'm wrong. He was getting a Plasma Cannon Devastator. Now he's getting Devastator Marines, and now he's getting a Plasma Cannon Devastator. Just because he can get that extra unit, it's usually not the perfect choice for Space Marine army composition, but it's a good choice if you need something, and that's what you can get. And a Devastator can make a huge difference, especially if it does something like gets a hit on, say, these shooter boys right here, and it just blows up 3 models and takes the squad down to like 30% health. And then that squad basically has to go, or it risks dying entirely. So, and then I guess another thing is that the Plasma Cannon Devastator does actually do AV damage. The only problem is that it often misses. Although if combined with a snare, or if you just get lucky, it can still kill a vehicle. But now we have knobs from Toilailee, and this is going to be really tough to deal with. The map has pretty much gone blue. It's been all Toilailee for like the past 5 minutes. And unfortunately, alright, we do have missile attack in the building that's going to hit this Death Dread. While most of... Oh my god, are you kidding me? Okay. And Toilailee sacrifices his Slugger Boys so that he can actually take out the... Sacrifice the Slugger so that he can take out the Devastator. Now he's using the Death Dread as anti-garrison. He's got to just take them out of there, I think. Or can they just tank the damage? Well, this Death Dread is about to die, but the problem is that Toilailee has already really firmly established control of the map. He's got a 3 cap. Riku only has about 70 victory points left. Riku's now got the much bigger army, but it's going to take a lot for him to come back from this. And as I'm saying that, I'm going to hide this tab right here to hide the fact that there are only 40 seconds left in the replay. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you might see that there's only about a minute left on the video. So I guess I can't save that, really. It's not looking good for Dark Riku this game. Toilailee really showing off his his Dawn of War 2 fluency. He is able to beat a fantastic player like Dark Riku, playing his while Riku is playing his main, while Toilailee is playing just some other stuff that's not even his main. And there's the game for Toilailee by a very convincing 369 victory points. Alright, that is the cast. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night. I will get Game 3 up too. Alright.